Hi everyone, we're going to continue on with our digestive system here, coming towards the end with our small intestine. So starting off here, we know that our small intestine is about 18 to 20 feet long. So this is actually the longest part of our entire digestive system is our small intestine, but it tends to be balled up, which is why it doesn't seem like such a large organ, though it definitely is here. So what we know about the small intestine is that it's going to receive secretions from the liver and the pancreas. So we talked about this slightly yesterday when we were talking about those accessory organs. It delivers those secretions into the duodenum, which we will get to in just a second. But the really main part and the main function here of the small intestine is it completes digestion of the nutrients in the chyme. So really breaking it down into those smallest pieces. It's going to absorb the products of digestion, and it's going to transport the rest of that residue into the large intestine. So what I would like you to do right now is underline this part right here, absorbs the products of digestion. This is the most important and main job of the small intestine. And we're going to get to why it's so important that it happens here and what key aspects of the small intestine allows it to absorb these products. So first we're going to start with our three parts here, the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. So what I would like you to write next to each of these, our duodenum is going to receive those secretions. So we're going to finish digestion here in the duodenum. In the jejunum, we're going to absorb our nutrients in the jejunum. And then our ileum, we're going to see here that this connects to our large intestine. So brings the rest of that chyme and the rest of that material over to the large intestine. But what we are going to see here is villi attached to all of the inner walls of our intestinal lining. So what these villi are is they're little tiny projections that come out of the inner walls of these small intestines. And why are these villi so important? They really increase the surface area of intestinal linings. So like we've talked about increasing surface area with different folds and things like that, they always tend to be important, and because of the situation in our small intestine, a larger surface area will allow that chyme and all those nutrients that we need to flow over more of the intestinal tract because it has an increased surface area, which is going to allow us to absorb more of those digestional products that we need. So again, these villi really aid in the absorption of the nutrients that we need from the digestive system. So one more time, our duodenum, that is where our liver and pancreas secretions are going to come into. We're finishing digestion here. Our jejunum is where we're going to see the majority of absorption occurring. This is the longest part of our small intestine. And then finally, the ileum is going to bring the rest of that waste and the rest of that matter into the large intestine. So let's take a look again here at our small intestine. We have our stomach leading to our duodenum. Remember, our pancreas lays right around here and our liver's on top, so both those secretions are coming in here. We can see our super long jejunum and our ileum leading to our large intestine here. So along with those villi, we also see mucosal cells in each of those villus that again are going to secrete some enzymes in case any of those products are not fully digested at this point. And in the small intestine, we are going to see that carbohydrate, protein, and fat digestion are completed. So that's the end of those different digestion. At this point, moving into the large intestine, we're going to see we're taking out a few more things, but it's really at this point removal of waste. Okay, so let's take a look at our large intestine. So our large intestine is shorter than the small intestine, but since it has a greater diameter, That's what gives it its name here. So the small intestine has a smaller diameter but is extremely longer. But since the large intestine has that great diameter, that's why we call it that. And the main function here of our large intestine is going to be to absorb water and electrolytes from the chyme that is remaining in our alimentary canal. And then it's also going to form and store those feces that are now the waste products of all of this digestion. So again, large intestine taking water out, taking electrolytes out, bringing that back into the body so we can use it, and really preparing this waste for extraction from the body. So again, we have some parts of the large intestine here. The cecum, this is going to be where the small intestine connects to the large intestine. Then we have our colon in some different parts here. We have the ascending, so ascending usually means going up. Transverse goes across, descending goes down, and then we have our sigmoid colon. Then we have the rectum and the anal canal. So again, let's take a look at what these are going to look like with the large intestine. Here we are, we can see the ileum from the small intestine connecting to our cecum. We have our ascending colon. Ascending means going up. So our ascending colon goes up. Our transverse goes across. Then our descending means going down. Our descending colon here. We have our sigmoid colon right at the bottom before we reach our rectum and our anal canal. So usually our small intestine are going to be nice and coiled up in the middle here. This is not the same for all animals. This is specific to humans here. And then one other thing that you might notice is that we have our appendix here. So you might have heard some of your friends or yourself have appendicitis and need to get their appendix removed. Well, here is this little organ attached to our cecum of the large intestine. So a couple more things that we need to know about the large intestine. Again, we're going to see this mucus. So we've seen this mucus kind of throughout the entire digestive system. So its purpose here is going to be protecting the large intestine from any abrasive materials or abrasive action within the large intestine. And then it's also going to help bind that fecal matter, so it's all connected as all that waste will leave our body. So again, mucus is really important here. Helps with that movement, helps with the binding. We saw mucus in our oral cavity to bind that bolus together, so it's all together as we swallow. And the same thing is happening here as we remove the waste from our body. And then the last thing here, big star next to this, we know that we have bacteria in our digestive tract and in our large intestine. So the bacteria here is going to break down molecules that either we couldn't break down or we kind of missed here. And again, it's helping that final breakdown, that final absorption that we're going to see here in the large intestine before our waste is removed from our body. So if we have any questions here, please let me know. And if not, that is our whole digestive system here.